Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host with the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys the latest chapter review for Akatsuki no Yona, also known as Yona of the Dawn. Yona of the Dawn, chapter 245. Now, alright, there's a few things. This chapter is actually not bad. Alright, like, I know there's been a lot of mixed feelings in the community about these latest couple of chapters, the direction of the story, and most of us, though there has been some pushback on the fact that Soo-won and Hak might talk later or something like that, the majority overall opinion is that though it might be a defendable conversation, it's not what the fans wanted, right? For the most part, and it hasn't really been recovering well since that this whole arc has been nothing but a roller coaster, where it's like, okay, we think we're back on track, you know, Yona of the Dawn's still one of the best, because up until this arc, I would argue Yona of the Dawn had no downsides. I would argue it was easily a 9 out of 10 manga. For pacing, for story, for characters, for everything. I would argue it had very little flaws to it, if any at all, up until this arc. And now this arc has been a little bit of this, just a roller coaster. Sometimes we think, all right, Yona of the Dawn is back, and other times it's like, what the hell are they thinking? So this chapter, thankfully, is going more along the side of we're climbing up, back up the hill rather than down. So to start us off, I'm just going to say some key highlight notes. Is that Yona knew how significant it was when Hak mentions that they have to go on their journey, yada yada yada, in the first couple of pages of the chapter, and he mentions that he had a talk with Soo-won, and Soo-won's the one who said it's our job to go find them, and blah blah blah, and Hak's a little closed lip about all this, right? Now, Yona knows the significance of Hak sitting down and talking with Soo-won. Like, that is, she's thinking, as the readers were before that abysmal chapter, oh, whoa, okay, what went down? Well, nothing important, but what went down, right? You know, so she's thinking about the significance, of course, of Hak and Su-won being in a room together and actually talking for the first time in the whole damn series since they were best friends, since they were brothers in arms. Yeah, okay, yeah, that, it was all about, yeah. Anyways, we're not going to go on that one again, but the fact of the matter is that he's a little closed-lipped about this and blah, 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 but Yona does recognize that that is a major milestone, or should have been, is important, and how is Hak feeling about all this and stuff. Anyways, they do end up going forward. You know, Kija rides with Hak because he's not feeling the best. Yona has her own horse, and when they stop for, you know, while they're doing their journey, they stop at a river. You know, they're just stopping for a rest, and this is when Yona just straight up says, did something happen with your talk with Soo-won? Because she knows that can't be the whole story. She knows that something must have happened. The only significant thing, though, that happened that had anything to do with Hak and Su-won was to this, and in this chapter we get it once again. We don't know what Soo-won said to Hak at the end of their talk. That had nothing to do with those two. It was more, all right, Hak, we're going to catch you up on what the readers know. Here's the Wikipedia page. Here's all the secrets of the Kokai Kingdom. There you go. I'm glad we had this conversation, old buddy. We have nothing else to talk about. See you later. So, outside of that, right, and I'm not bitter at all about that still, but I warned you guys I would be. I warned everybody in the last couple chapter reviews I was going to be bitter about this for a while. So, fact of the matter is, though, that this chapter actually acknowledges some of that, and you know, Hak is going to be standoffish about this. He does acknowledge that he talked to Soo-won, but he's not really in the mood to discuss it at all. So this is where the conversation goes odd, because she's thinking about the whole Yona will be the next ruler of Kokai Kingdom and stuff. And he asks her, like, have you heard about anything? And she says, what do you mean? And then it goes, well, wait a minute now. That it was weird that they showed that scene, because that's not his trail of thought. First, I thought his trail of thought, by rethinking what Soo-won said about Yona taking over, was he was going to think, like, has Ki-sok been saying anything to you? Like, have you been, like, basically been coerced or something, like, lately or anything like that? But then all of a sudden, no, that wasn't. So it was a weird panel to use, because that's not his thought process at all. He's worried about the dragons. And here is where the one flaw, in my opinion, of this chapter, because the chapter is pretty good, and it brings back a question I brought up last review, or the review before, and I'm so stoked that it did. But the fact is, it's doing the classic thing that every romantic comedy in history for the last 55 years of cinema have done. You have a couple, they're great. Somebody lies about something, trying to protect somebody, or doesn't tell them the truth right away, tries to cover it up, they break up over it, they get back together at the end of the movie because it's all just one big misunderstanding. I was doing it because I love you, I did it to protect you, yada yada yada. The same bullshit. And Yona the Dawn never did that. Yona the Dawn has never done that with our characters, and right now, well, it pretty much did. Because maybe I'm misremembering correctly, but is Yona not aware that the dragons have a short lifespan? I'm pretty sure I'm not misremembering that. I mean, I could be wrong. And you guys let me know if I am. If I'm wrong about that, you let me know. But fact of the matter is that Yona knows. Now Hak knows, but because Yona and no one, or Zeno and nobody told him, because nobody confided, if you have no secrets, this type of miscommunication shit in relationships doesn't happen, and we don't get the same trope that's been in every romantic comedy in cinema of all time. Is Hak now is thinking, do I tell her about this? The dragons have a short lifespan. What will happen to the princess if I do? And now he's conflicted and he's in turmoil. You know, putting aside all the fact that him and Soo-won went further apart than ever because of their talk, the most idiotic thing I could think of that happened. But the fact is that here is that now he's got a second personal inner turmoil going on, wondering, should I tell her? Should I not tell her? What's she gonna think? What's gonna happen? Our decision making, like, what, you know, but she knows. And if she had told him and been upfront, A, we wouldn't have had to waste so many pages with the Soo-won conversation over it. And B, because Hak already would have known, which he should have known. And B, none of this personal, like, negative feelings that Hak's experiencing right now, all this personal shit that is going on with him right now, half of it would have been resolved if if Zeno and the dragons and Yona and everybody was just open and honest with Hak. Why is he not included? Why has no one told the Thunder Beast up to this point? That is wrong. Now, this all hinges on the fact that Yona does know about the short lifespans, but I am 99% sure that Yona knows about the short lifespan. So there is that. Either way, he decides that, he's not going to bring it up now, of course. So this is going to eat at him. And that is my problem with this, is that this is what happens in a lot of tropey mangas and tropey stories, is that miscommunication and not just straight up, why the hell would you not tell? It's sort of like if my wife goes out and dings up the car, and then she comes up with a story as to why she didn't take her car today, and where is the car and stuff, and she comes up with all this bullshit instead of just telling me, look, I dinged up the car. You know? Well, shit. Why did you do that? Now I know about it and fix it. It's worse because when she lies about it, if she lies about it, now it's not about the fact that she dinged up the car. I don't really care that she dinged up the car. It's just money. It's just a car. We can fix it. Is she safe? Is she all right? Perfect. That's my main concern. The fact is, she felt she needed to lie to me about it. So that is the seed of doubt and a seed of problems in a relationship right there. The fact that you feel the need to lie to someone, that is not healthy. That is not healthy at all. And so they've never really done that in Yona the Dawn up to this point, and the fact that it was kept from Hak up to this point was irrelevant, but now that it is relevant, it's become a huge open book problem. As far as I'm concerned, I just don't care for it. He should have known the moment anybody else knew. Zeno should have been up front about it, honestly, but Zeno's a little bit of an oddball, 2,000 years old. I don't know what his end game truly is. I mean, I think he just wants to die, to be fair, but either way, there is a hint. A lot of people have said that Soo-won's last words, and we get that other panel. Soo-won's last words to Hak was goodbye, or I'm glad I saw you one last time, or I won't see you again, or I'll be dead before you get back, something like that. It seems like it's more along the lines of the coming back thing, because when he says, let's find the others quickly and come back. And then he thinks to himself, coming back, and he remembers what Soo-won told him. We still don't know what Soo-won actually said, but he thinks about coming back and what Soo-won said to him. So he won't be coming back in time to see Soo-won again. Basically, Soo-won, in one line, I don't know what the words exactly were, but it's implying that Soo-won basically said, I'll be dead before you get back. So this is my final goodbye to you. You know, seems like only a tiny little line to say all that, but it's seemingly leaning in that direction as far as I'm concerned, right? So either way, this is where my favorite part of the chapter, in my opinion, comes in. So Ran runs up and stuff, because remember I was asking all about the person who impersonated Hak's wife and stuff, and this is my kid, and he saved the kid from Kaji and stuff like that, from getting his hand chopped off and all this crazy stuff, right? The pseudo wife of Hak sort of idea from South Kai and stuff. We finally find out what happened to them. They did relocate. They were safe. You know, I was concerned about them. They were very likable characters, and we only met for like 2 chapters, but they were very likable, and their fates were tied to the fact that they knowingly aided and abetted an enemy soldier. So, you know, there was a possibility that maybe that didn't end in the best of light. So, and it very well could have not. So the fact that when they reach the South Kai stuff and they're like, hey, what's going on here? It's like, we're just looking for some people. Well, turn back, blah, blah, blah. And then so Ran runs up and goes, it's Dad. You know him, Ran. This person is my dad. And everyone, like Kija, and everyone, Yona's like, wait, Dad? And Hak just straight up, just, oh, it's you, Ran. How you doing, kid? Like just not saying, no, I'm not your dad, kid. No. None of that. This kid knows how to play. And Soo-won comes out, and she says, you know, this man is your husband and stuff. And Hak's like, yeah, can we do that again, please? Ruse 2.0, as it were. And she's like, well, yeah, I guess you could say that. And I mean, to be fair, she's been through a lot of hardships, and she doesn't exactly know how badass Hak is. But still, I mean, you know, you're sort of getting a good deal out of this one. You know, if your fake husband is the Thunder Beast, I'm just saying. I mean, hell, I would marry the Thunder Beast. You know, if the Thunder Beast came up to me and Hak said, yeah, totally, yeah, we're in a relationship, I'd be like, abso-fucking-lutely, honey. I would 100% do that for Hak. I mean, just look at him. Who wouldn't? So, either way, I don't know what my wife would say about that. Probably not too impressed. Either way, doesn't matter. Fact of the matter is that this is a really nice scene. I like the scene, and the fact that the mom and the kid are fine. That really, I was like, okay, this chapter is good for this. If nothing else, this is a good chapter for this alone. And, so they come back, and I love the fact that the kid automatically, like, they're explaining everything. They go back to her home and stuff like that, and the kid's just playing, you know, automatically on top of Hak, in Hak's lap, on his shoulders, just playing around. Oh, Dad's home. Like, it's normal. This works. And Hak is just completely, everyone's ignoring the fact that the kid is maybe truly believes this is his dad, like, at this point. Of course not, but it's just so cool that he fell in love with Hak like all of us readers did, and the characters in the story do. Just falls in love with Hak just automatically because he's that guy, right? So either way, there's not really a whole lot to go over. They summarize that, oh, we left that encampment, we moved further to this direction, yada yada yada, to escape the fighting, all this stuff. And then of course Kija attacks Hak completely, being like, you got married to this woman, because of course they haven't really, the situation hasn't been explained to Yona or Kija yet, exactly what's going down. And they are playing it off like, oh yeah, he's my dad. It's like, wait, you had a kid with this woman? You got married to this woman? And you still said you loved the princess? For shame! And stuff like this and all. And it's quite a fun scene and stuff. And a lot of people love, from what I saw on Discord and Reddit, a lot of people love just Yona just completely blank stare, taking it all in stride, while Hak explains and goes, oh yeah, shit, maybe I should explain to you guys exactly what's going on here. Well, this is all a ruse because of yada 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 A, B, C, D. And then all of a sudden it all goes down, and then Yona just falls over after blank staring, not upset, not crying and stuff, and says, I was so sad I thought I would die of heartbreak. And then Hak's like, what? just completely dumbfounded. So it's a nice scene. It's a romantic scene. It's a comedic scene. It's got a lot of great elements to it. And yeah, so I really definitely like this scene. And everyone's, thanking, Soon-san there, or Soon-on? Is that her name? Anyways, thanking her and stuff like that, and just saying, we appreciate everything you've been doing and all this stuff, and we're looking for these people, these dragons and stuff like that. Dragons? I don't know what you mean, yada, yada, yada. And this is where Kija's leg, of course, is still throbbing. It still really, really hurts. So, really, really scared that he can't sense them anymore, and this is really worrisome. So, Yona has a dream. Now, once again, I'm not a fan that Yona is not just an incredible person, right? I like the idea is that she's no different from anybody else. She doesn't have some superpowers, right? So I didn't like the idea that she got her visions and stuff. And I actually think this could happen without the powers. You know what I mean? Because this isn't really a prophecy dream of what's to come. Zeno is trying to contact her because the dragon blood connects them, because she's the reincarnation and stuff. There's something that goes beyond the mortal plane, and while she's sleeping, while in her dreams, Zeno is able to call out to her. I think that could be explained away. If you want to say this is more because of her super random, Mary Sue vision powers, she randomly gets 300 chapters into a story, fine, dandy, you can do that. I like to pretend that didn't happen because it hasn't been brought up since, and we're going with this. We're going with the fact that Zeno's just the oldest dragon and stuff, and he had to wait while they are in very, as we can find out from this chapter at the end, in close proximity. So Zeno has finally been able to reach her, to call out to her through spirits, through souls, through dreams. The connection, it goes deeper than mortals, right? So. And this is where Yona wakes up, and they have this full conversation and stuff. What about the others? And he says, "Miss, it's coming, and it's coming, so don't let it get away." What is coming? Zeno's got the chalice in his hand in the dream, so maybe that means they did end up recovering the chalice. But Zeno is in his full garb. He's still got his regular attire and stuff, but he's got the chalice, and he's not in dragon form. And he's the one who came there. We don't see Shin-Ah or Jae-Ha in the background or anything like that. And this is where she gets woken up from this dream, and Hak is worried that Kija has already gone straight outside. And Kija, of course, sensed first Jae-Ha was near. And there's Jae-Ha, back in human form, supposedly, looking, all right, there's Jae-Ha. Maybe we're okay, There's Jae-Ha. They found him, Jae-Ha, and runs forward and says, "Are you all right? How is your body?" And then we hear it's still Jae-Ha. We know for a fact this is Jae-Ha because he tries to say, "Yona, dear," and then she's like, "Jae-Ha, don't," and then it's a big don't, as in, I'm assuming, don't come near me or something. He's struggling to maintain his human form by the looks of it, because the last page of the chapter, dragon scales start to form, and he starts to lose and ooze. His human body starts to almost melt away. The inhuman power they release, they can't. I'm going to go off on a limb here, because that's the end of the chapter. I'm going to say, and I'll see how many people agree with me, at the end of this, but I'm going to say that right now, releasing their dragon forms, except for Zeno, because Zeno's sort of the exception, not the rule, but maybe included with Zeno, fully releasing and losing their human forms to their original dragon forms from the heavens themselves, by utilizing that not just once and not just an illusion manifestation like in the Zen Kingdom arc, but in the actual physical sense. There was no human bodies. They fully transformed into physical dragons and stuff. They've sort of, if you can imagine the human body as a container, and it shattered and it broke, you can't just, you need a lot of super glue to put a jar back together if you shatter it from the inside out, right? So their human bodies were a container and released only 10, 20, 30% of their dragon-like abilities and powers to a limitation so that they could stay contained. Now that the containers have been broken and released, I assume Jae-Ha, Shin-Ha, and Zeno are trying to recontain their dragon forms, but now that the divine dragons have been fully manifested and released, it's not so simple to put them back in their human container and maintain that form through strength of will. And they're also away from Koka Kingdom. The shrine was burnt. Hiryu Castle was burnt down. God knows where the chalice is. Currently, it's in Dream World with Zeno. So there's a lot. There's so much to unpack with that one. I'm going off that. That's my theory right now. Is that because their dragon forms were now, for the first time, fully manifested. And that's another line as to why the dragons have short lifespans, is that a human body can only contain divine or godlike powers for so long. They're not meant to. Their bodies deteriorate at a much faster rate. And they can only contain so much of the power. By fully utilizing it and releasing it time and time again, eventually you just can't put the pieces back together. It doesn't work that way, right? So that's what I'm assuming is sort of what's going on. I came up with this on my own on the fly. I haven't really read what anybody else has really thought about that avenue. I've heard people worried about Jae-Ha, and I heard people liking the chapter and stuff, but I haven't read anybody coming up as to what does this mean and why is it happening. So that's my current theory on it and stuff. But that was the chapter, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. It's probably this is going to be about a day late at least from when it's going to come out. It's 100% because the chapter came out about 2 days ago, and I'm just getting to record it right now, and it's probably not going to be edited and released until maybe on Sunday, probably Monday. Just depends. Just got a lot going on this weekend and stuff. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed nonetheless. Apologies for it being a few days late. But what do you guys think of the chapter? Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe as always. It's always very much appreciated. And we will see all you beautiful people back here next time for the latest chapter of Yona the Dawn. Chapter 246. I am looking forward to the next chapter because I'm curious as to if my theory's right and is Jae-Ha okay? Right? It is entirely possible. This is sort of building to a more finale part. I don't think this is the final arc, but we're closer to the end of the story than we are to the beginning of the story or the middle of the story. And I would argue that, character deaths are going to come. I don't think everyone in the story is getting off scot-free. So, that is what it is. Hope you guys enjoyed, and sayonara. We'll see you all back here next time.